Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel Italy a Place to Love. By the title you should have already guessed what I'm gonna talk about, and it's about all these events that are happening here in Europe. I'm focusing mainly in Europe because this is where I live. And the problem of buying a property, let me say, in certain kind of conditions. Now, if you like this type of videos, please, it takes 2 seconds, put like and subscribe, just to support my channel to grow. And so let's enter into the topic properly. Now, basically, what did we witness in the last few months? Now I can already say few months, but it's not only few months. I mean, now it's already few years that we are witnessing a lot of floodings here, in particular in Europe. I don't know other parts of the world again. And lately what happened in Spain, it's simply a total disaster by what I've seen on YouTube and on the television. Now I feel very sorry for these people who have been affected by this serious event. But now let me start from the one important thing, one of the main topics, that technically no one can avoid anymore. Nobody can deny nowadays that we are witnessing a kind of climate change. So this is something that is happening, it's happening, and we are witnessing this kind of daily. I'm witnessing, for example, even here where I am in Montemilone. So now the problems can be different type of problems created by these events, by these serious events. But now, for example, I just opened this little window about here in the south of Italy that is not raining at all. So there is a lack of rain. So there is a shortage of water in many areas here in the south of Italy. There is a shortage of water, for example. And this is something that has to be taken seriously, because obviously we need water. It's one of our primary needs. But then let's go back to what happened in Spain in the last few days, what happened also recently here in Italy, in certain areas, because now I want to go deep in also about the areas. Not all the areas are affected by this climate change all in the same way. Or what happened, for example, in the Middle Europe, in the Central Europe a few months ago, but what happened in France also a few weeks ago. So we are witnessing now this situation. Sorry. I'm talking now about, in particular, about the floodings and a concept, because I'm always focusing on buying properties. Now, this is a thing that I have at least 20 years, if not more. And let me start from far. That basically each time I bought a property in my life, the first thing that I was always focusing, I don't know why, but the first thing I was always focusing was always how far is the closest river to the house that I'm going to buy. Here we can talk and we can say a lot of things about this topic. And let's go far. And so why was coming this across to my mind? Okay, maybe let me start from Turin, from the city where I was born, that I witnessed a massive flooding in the town where I was living, very, very close to Turin, called Venaria Reale. I will actually ask you to check Venaria Reale because it's a beautiful town in the suburban area of Torino. I'm proud that I was growing up in this town. It's a beautiful town. But in 1994, and I was only 17, I witnessed a massive flooding. And I remember as a teenager, I didn't put too much a lot. I didn't care much, but I remember some friends of mine having the house having the house flooded. Okay, so and I remember the difficulties they went for. I remember they had been into a very stressful situation. Some of them had to be rescued. So the situation was quite serious in this flood that we had in 1994. You can even double check on Google and type flooding Torino 1994 and you will find information. From that moment, I always said to myself, it's not good to buy a house beside a river. Now, in 1994, nobody was talking about climate change, or we were talking about some kind of issues that we would have witnessed in the future, for example, but not as we are witnessing today, nowadays. And so, from that moment, so each property I bought in my life, I always been very careful about to check always the position of the river, where the river is located, and where is the house or the property or the apartment that I'm gonna buy. So, and I always recommend to all the people I knew, basically. I always said this, listen, be careful because there could be a flooding, there could be an event that might affect you. So now it's nice to have a house beside a river. Rivers are generally, how can I say, they are harmless. They are not causing problems. It's nice to have water, for example, to see, to open your window and see a river. But then, if nowadays we start seeing these type of events, and in Italy it's happening quite often, it start being a very common thing to have this type of the floods. So, and I feel sorry each time I see someone that is affected, has been affected by this problem. I feel sorry, my heart is crying because I never wish anyone to have this type of problems. Then I don't want to enter in the topic because then it becomes massive. For example, if I bought a house that costs 500,000 and I have a mortgage and then I have my beautiful house totally destroyed, that is a problem. Okay, there are then some helps from the government. I'm not denying that there are schemes that maybe are helping people, to go back to normal, to recover from their situation. But generally, so these people are facing a problem and then they have to solve, and maybe then they have to put even more money. Now, for example, I can talk about Italy, that a lot of people who are affected by this problem are complaining that the government is not helping at all, so you have to do everything on your own expenses. And to be honest, it's not nice to go through these things. I had a damage, but maybe I'm not covered by the insurance, or even could be a car that had been destroyed, and maybe I still have the loan to pay, and the insurance is not covering me. So these are all things that I have to think properly. So before I'm going and I'm spending some money, because I go to work for the money. So money is not following from the sky. So we all go and sweat, and we all put efforts. I mean, not everyone is sweating while they're working. Some of them are sitting in front of, relaxing, a beautiful office. Doesn't matter. This is, but we all put efforts to make money. And when it's about to spend extra money, then I have to go through extra problems, more problems. And it's very important to avoid, to prevent. Now, if I cannot prevent an event, something particular, a natural disaster, because I cannot prevent a natural disaster, Now I'm focusing on the floodings, but there's not only the floodings. There's also the earthquakes, and there's also the landslides. So it's very particular. Nowadays, my video wants to focus on the fact that it's very important nowadays when we buy a house to check properly where this house is and not only be pushed by our dreams, let me say, to follow our dreams, to live. I mean, it's important to find the house that we love, the house of our dreams, but it's also important to consider, actually, for me, it's very important to consider what can be the consequences of this house after a severe event. It's extremely important to focus on these things. That's why it's a kind of warning. I want to warn people nowadays. I'm not saying, for example, okay, then someone might say under my video, oh, Antonio, so means all the areas beside the rivers should be abandoned? Big question mark, guys. I'm not saying no. I mean, I'm not saying that all these areas should be abandoned. I'm only saying that me, personally, I'm not gonna buy nowadays a house beside a river. I mean, and then if the housing market is gonna fall, because now all these areas that have been affected by these type of events, then the consequences is not only maybe they paid a property with a mortgage at a certain amount of money, but they also might see their properties devaluated. Now we need to be smart. It's very important. On my channel, I'm trying to give advices. I mean, obviously it's not my fault if these things are happening, but I go back to the point where I started my video, so that since I was a kind of even a young teenager and I was thinking about buying a house, I was always thinking, okay, I see that a river can turn into a nightmare. And because we are witnessing anyway this climate change that nobody can deny nowadays. Now, to deny these type of events nowadays, it's something that probably someone doesn't have to be 100%, let me say. So we are not denying these type of events. Then again, this is one problem. I don't want to personally attack who has a house beside a river, because maybe something it may never happen, and then wow, that's great, that's fantastic. But it's important to consider in particular who is buying today, who is gonna buy tomorrow or in a month or in 1 year. Check properly the territory, because by what we are witnessing nowadays, I mean, we have to be extremely, extremely careful. Then the perfect place doesn't exist. This is another of my, because I'm not saying, oh, because I'm far from the river. For example, when I'm mentioning far from the river, I'm also saying to be at a different height. Now, I can be close to a river, but if I'm 20, 30 meters above the river, I might guess that my house is not going to be affected. But then it depends, because I might have a mountain beside or a hill, and I might have landslides. So again, these are all things that have to be considered. And for example, when I'm saying that the perfect place, the perfect house doesn't exist. And this is something that I put even on myself. That, for example, I relocated here, and there is a shortage of water. Here it's not raining. In the south of Italy, in Sicily, in Calabria, in Apulia region, we are witnessing this type of problem. One of the consequences, for example, that I'm witnessing now here I give you an example that has nothing to do with the floodings, but prices of fruit and veg here skyrocket. Went to the moon in the last 2 months. I'm shocked by this, okay? Because I'm saying I'm in a fruitful land, I'm in a place where the weather is friendly, kind of, it's not, and I see, and I couldn't figure out. I said, how is it possible that fruit and veg here are all farmers and the price is skyrocketing like this? I mean, shocking price, guys. €5 for 1 kilo of courgettes, €4, €4 50 for 1 kilo tomatoes. I mean, okay, beautiful quality, fantastic. But this is shocking for the Italian power purchasing by the salaries. Let me say, the prices in Italy, the salaries in Italy are not that high as in other parts of the world. The average salary here in Italy goes maybe €1,500 a month, then who is above and who is under 1500s. But let me say 1500s for a factory worker. That's what is the salary, 14, 1500, 1600, an average person. So to have these prices is mad. And then I ask around because I was shocked. So then I go to the bar. Antonio, how do you feel here in Montemilone? I say, oh, I love it. It's fantastic. I mean, I'm really enjoying. It's what I was looking for. I say, but how come that the prices of fruit and veg are increasing badly like that? And they're telling me, oh, Antonio, because it didn't rain. So the fact that it's not raining is connected with the fact that we are facing something that is changing with our climate, okay? That nobody can deny again. And so what I'm expecting then in the coming future, I'm expecting, if it's not raining, to see even the prices higher. Because they told me, oh, Antonio, if this last spring and summer would have rained a lot, let me say the spring, because the problem started from the spring where it didn't rain at all. I was here the 15th of March and until the 16th of June, I witnessed the rain maybe twice. Okay, this affected all the farming production and now is affecting all these prices. So I might see even doubling now these prices. So again, the perfect place doesn't exist. Obviously, some events might have higher, worse consequences than other. Here, what I can expect to have the tomatoes at €10 per kilo. What can I do? That is the price. I will try to buy what is seasonal. For example, if tomatoes are already not a seasonal product, I will try to avoid. But if I go back to an event like the flooding, for example, that is destroying my house. That is gonna be more effective. That can destroy my car. Maybe I was thinking about all these cars in Spain that we all see in these images here now. And so they probably had new cars and they had loans on these cars. They still have to repay back their loans. The insurance probably won't pay anything because they are not insurance against flooding. Maybe theft and fire, yes. What about these extreme events? Are the insurances gonna cover? Is the government gonna give a kind of relief? We don't know all these things. So these are the important things. Then, for example, now what I notice as well there about Valencia, this area, that also the farmers, not only they didn't have any rain for the last 6 months, 9 months, the amount of rain was very, very low, and all the farmers were affected with the production and the prices going up. Now, what I notice is that all these farmers had their farms nearly destroyed because this was a very fertile part of Spain. Was a part of Spain where with a high production of fruit and veg, for example. And we all know that Spain is a big exporter of fruit and veg. I remember when I was living in Ireland or I spent time in UK, I could see that most of the products of fruit and veg were coming from Spain, nearly 50%. Now, is this going to affect as well, because all these farmers have been damaged and destroyed their farms, affect now the prices of the goods even all over Europe, simply because. So then I can also mention, for example, that could be a problem to buy a house too close to the sea, for example, because we see the erosions of the coastlines. So, for example, these I've noticed have been a major issue in Florida now with these hurricanes, with these storms that they had in Florida. For example, I can find the house of my dreams in front of the beach. Is it safe? Now, safety first, as always. Okay, my friends, then obviously, for example, I'm in Italy, I'm facing the problem of, for example, of the rain, but here in Italy, something that we might have to, we are very, very concerned are the earthquakes, for example. And I don't want to scare anyone because millions of people are living here. Back to the topic that people lives under the Vesuvium, the volcano. And actually, I read even some fear-mongering articles lately that they are saying they're giving few days before the Campi Flegrei are going to explode. So, what's going on? Safety first. Okay, my friends, so it's very important to consider where we want to buy a property. Nowadays, and it's not an easy game. Let's put it like that, because I can see it as a game where I have to choose the safest place, in the place that I love most. But again, try to find all the things that I'm looking for, the house of my dream, in the place that I'm dreaming of to live, but also to consider what the consequences can be to be safe. Okay, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you to my next videos on Italy A Place to Love YouTube channel. Put like and subscribe if you watched the video up to now. I'll see you to my next video. Bye!